What's going on, my dudes and dudettes? How you living? Brainsmasher back with another 4 reviews. Actually 5 this time, just for the fuck of it. We'll get to that in a minute. What we're listening to in the background, should you be able to hear it? Offer Mod Mysterion Te Anomias. This is fucking awesome, 1. Number 2, I would credit this band and this EP in particular as being the birth of the Swedish Orthodox black metal style. Watain, Onskapt, and Offermod, I would say, all kind of had a lot to do with it. But this thing fucking rules, and you need to know about it if you don't already. Check out those band photos. Funeral Mist also, I kind of would say, could be credited there. This is out on Norma Evangelium Dioboli. And this came out pretty early on in that whole genre. I want to say 2001 maybe or so. This is, I think, the second press of it. Killer stuff. I was going to put on the Tiam 2 album by Offermod, and then I remembered how much I like this one. I think Tiam 2 shows them growing quite a bit, and I really like that album, but it's a little bit more of a different kind of beast. And this one is a lot more like straightforward, down to earth, you know. Okay, couple of new things I have gotten in. This is something I picked up in Earwax a couple weeks ago. Octonomos, Welcome to My Planet. I talked about them. It's a little loud. I talked about Octonomos a couple times already. If you'll remember back a couple of videos ago or whatever, I had played that Parnassus album. It was a super synth-heavy, sort of melodic Swedish drum machine band. This is another project by that guy. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this is Swedish. It's got a drum machine. It's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. It kind of is its character, and it also kind of is the only thing that sucks about it. But I think this guy really makes that, uses that to his advantage. The fact that he's using a drum machine and makes no bones about it, you know. It's just super fucking raging black metal. And this came out on Hammerheart Records in, God, Fredrik Soderlund, that's his name. You know, without looking it up, I'm going to guess the year. Maybe it came out in 2000. Let's just say 2000. Right around there. And it was around that time when drummers really couldn't play as fast as this guy wanted to be playing. So, you know, if this sort of came out today, it would be a lot less notable than it did back then. Than it would have been if it came back. But anyways, it's super fast. It's super nasty, melodic, and just pissed off. And it's really cool. Vocals are great. Guitar work is just really interesting. He's just such an interesting songwriter. He also went on to do, what is that band? He's in a bunch of bands. I don't know. Check him out. Link down below, of course. Next, we have Mournful Congregation, the Incubus of Karma. So, I don't know, 2 or 3 videos ago, I talked about Book of Kings, and I hopped right on getting this since they had a new full length out. Upon a couple of cursory spins, I don't really find anything new about this album that, you know, is all that remarkable, more remarkable than Book of Kings or any of their previous material. It's just another fucking killer Mournful Congregation album. There may be some things that I'm not really paying attention to, some nuances that aren't really there. So, Mournful Congregation is one of my favorite funeral doom bands. And like I said in a couple of videos ago, it's just a band that I hadn't really kept up with all that much. So we have the new one from them on $20 spin. It's got some interesting artwork. But yeah, I just love these guys for being just, there's a way about, they just have those like mournful, introspective sort of guitar harmonies. And the way that it paces itself with those harmonies is just so interesting to these ears. I'm not sure what this album is about. I need to really dig in, listen to it, read the lyrics and stuff. But yeah, Mournful Congregation fucking rules. They've been playing live in the States quite a bit here over the last few years. I'd like to catch them if I get a chance. Another album I picked up over the weekend. This is Howls of Ebb, Cursus Impasse, the Pendulumic Vows. This is the I Voidhanger version of this record. I got their debut when Marty Worm sent it to me, and I really, really liked it. I also need to pick up their split with Chthonic Cervix. But this is their debut. No. God, I'm fucking up a lot. Their second full length. But it kind of feels like a debut because it's a little less of a demo feel than their first one. It kind of feels like the Beast fully realized in a way. If you're not familiar with Howls of Ebb, they're a really unique band, and they kind of caught me off guard. Their riffing style, killer artwork by the way, is a lot more percussive. It's not melodic, and it's not all that like disharmonic. It's not super dissonant or anything, but the drums are really, I think, the way the songs are written. The rhythm and the percussion and the sort of ups and downs in intensity really formulate the character of the band. And it's a really interesting kind of listen. It's sort of like a Lovecraftian kind of death metal band. I mean, Cathelis is kind of I would say is kind of a side brethren or cousin of this band. Really good stuff out of San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. So that's Howls of Ebb with Cursus Impasse. I think they're kind of due for a new record by now. I think that came out about 2 or 3 years ago. So next we've got, this is, I don't know, this isn't so great, but this is called My Own Wolf, a new approach to Ulver. So I picked this up for just a couple of bucks a little while ago. Because I thought, why not? You know, it's got a lot of stuff that I'm not familiar with whatsoever. Ulver is one of my favorite bands, but I really only like the first 3. 4, I guess, if you want to say The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, I really do like that one too. So I wasn't familiar with any of these bands, and just going through the back of it, I wasn't really familiar with a lot of these songs. And, you know, they have a ton of releases that I just don't listen to. I can't get into their last one that everyone was nuts about. So it's really just the first 4 for me. The Metamorphosis EP was kind of good. Blood Inside, I kind of like that one, but it's not like I would recognize any songs off of that if they're on here. So I just thought it was an interesting chance to get familiar with some new bands. Hear some interesting interpretations of some songs that I already knew, which is always fun. The only band I was familiar with on here is Zweis. And that's a guy from Norway. And the only way you would probably know Zweis, unless it's from his own project, Zweis, is that he played on the Dotheimsgard EP, Satanic Art. He had a different name on there or something. But I think he had a lot to do with Dotheimsgard. He might have also played on 666 International. I'm not so sure. He had a lot to do with, I think, pushing Dotheimsgard into the weird direction that they wound up taking. So these covers span all of their discography. Well, this actually came out many years ago, so maybe 8 years ago or so. Up to that point, they still have a lot of material that I wasn't familiar with at that point. But there's a really interesting version of Utres. I guess it's track 2 on CD 1 here. Now, that's one of the songs from the all-acoustic Feldsanger album, and they've turned that into a fully realized sort of metal song, and it fucking rules. I'm really going to look into more by this band, and that really just made the whole thing worth it. That's something that I was actually expecting might be a possibility when I picked this up, was that somebody would do something completely out of the ordinary and just blow me away. And when I heard the vocal chorus come in that song, I realized what song it was, because I didn't recognize it because it was a metal song of an acoustic, a formerly acoustic song. So it was super interesting to hear that done. And it was actually an idea that I had a couple years ago when Austin from Panopticon and I were doing a band. We were kind of starting to write and jam some songs. And I had said, let's cover one of the acoustic songs and turn it into acoustic over songs and turn it into a metal song. Never wound up happening, but I'm glad to hear that it's a good idea. So yeah, the band is called Avathar, and Utrius is the cover. There's some terrible stuff on here as well. In fact, the first track on here, Unfurl, they cover Lost in Moments. It's really, really bad. So I'm not going to sit here and shit on all of these things. There's a lot of crap, and there's a lot of great stuff on here. Cold Dimensions put this out, and I bet you can pick it up for real, real cheap, if that sounds like a great thing to you. And last but not least, Lurker of Chalice. Everybody and their mother is buying this. So, way back when this originally came out, I had heard Leviathan, I had heard 10th Level Suicide, a couple of demos and stuff, and I don't know, I wasn't all that impressed. I was, again, kind of allergic to the hype back then, and that was 2002 or 3 or so. And then this Lurker of Chalice came out, and I heard that it was a side project, so I was interested in hearing the guy's other ideas, or, you know, a side kind of thing. And I actually thought it was kind of okay. I saw it in a record store on LP, the Southern Lord, the infamous fucking rare Southern Lord version of the LP, and I saw it and I was just like, all hype, I don't want it. I kind of regret never buying it back then, because it's a pretty killer album. So I finally picked it up again at Reckless Records this week. And in Chicago, thanks to my buddy Brandon for buying that for me. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised how minimal the packaging is on this. There's just really nothing to look at. I'm not sure if originally it was quite a bit like that as well. Why do that? But whatever, it's a killer record. And what is the status of Lurker of Chalice? Is he ever going to do another Lurker of Chalice album? Kind of wonder. So that's it. I did 5 albums. I just kind of chose that because, you know, you guys all know this one. I don't need to say a whole lot about it. Either way, we'll see you next time. Thanks for subscribing.